Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. How many of you have ever promised yourself that this time will be different, only to find that weeks later, nothing has changed? I see it happen every single day, and here's the truth. The difference between where you are today and where you want to be isn't talent, luck, or opportunity. It's discipline, pure, unshakable, unbreakable self-discipline. Now, I'm not talking about forcing yourself into misery or becoming a robot. I'm talking about mastering your own choices so that your mind, your body, and your actions are aligned with the person you are destined to become. You see, every great life, every extraordinary achievement, every story worth telling, it begins not with a moment of inspiration, but with a moment of decision. And that decision is simple. I will do what must be done even when I don't feel like it. Imagine waking up every morning knowing exactly what you will do, taking charge of your actions, and refusing to let excuses, distractions, or fleeting desires steal your future. That is what self-discipline gives you. That is what these 7 rules will help you build. And let me tell you this, once you develop it, once you truly own it, nothing, I mean nothing, can stop you from reaching the life you deserve. Because discipline isn't punishment, it's freedom, it's power. It's the bridge between who you are today and who you know you were meant to become. Responsibility is the foundation of true self-discipline, and yet it's one of the most overlooked principles in life. Many people go through their days blaming circumstances, luck, or other people for where they are, thinking that their success or failure is determined by forces beyond their control. But the moment you take full responsibility for your choices, for your actions, for every result in your life, something remarkable happens. You gain power. Real freedom doesn't come from having endless options or avoiding challenges. It comes from the ability to choose deliberately and to take ownership of the consequences. When you stop pointing fingers and stop waiting for someone else to fix your problems, you discover that you have everything you need to shape your destiny. Every successful person, every leader, every individual who has mastered their own life understands this principle. They don't wait for motivation to appear or for the conditions to be perfect. They start where they are with what they have, and they take responsibility for making progress. Responsibility is not about guilt or beating yourself up for mistakes. It's about understanding that the quality of your life is a reflection of the choices you make every single day. If you want to improve your results, you must first examine your decisions and be honest with yourself about where you've fallen short. Once you own it, you can change it. Responsibility empowers you because it removes excuses. When you realize that your success is entirely in your hands, you no longer feel like a victim of circumstance. You no longer wait for others to approve your dreams or validate your efforts. Instead, you act, you adapt, and you persist. And here's the key. This ownership is the gateway to self-discipline. You can't commit to your goals, to your routines, to your growth, unless you accept that it's up to you to make them happen. Life will always throw obstacles in your path. People will disappoint you, and setbacks are inevitable. But when you embrace responsibility, every challenge becomes an opportunity to prove your strength, to test your resolve, and to refine your character. You begin to see that freedom is not avoiding constraints, but having the discipline to act within them, to make choices that align with your highest vision, and to never blame the world for your results. This mindset shifts your energy, your focus, and your identity. You start seeing yourself not as someone who reacts to life, but as someone who shapes it, molds it, and guides it intentionally. And the beauty of responsibility is that it compounds. The more you take it, the more confident, capable, and unstoppable you become, because every decision reinforces the truth that you are in control of your own destiny. Daily habits are the invisible architecture of your life, the small actions repeated consistently that determine who you become and what you achieve. Many people underestimate the power of routine, thinking that only grand gestures or extraordinary efforts lead to success. But the truth is, it's the simple, repeated choices you make each day that compound over time into extraordinary results. Discipline is not about forcing yourself into heroic acts of willpower for a single moment. It's about designing your life in a way that your behaviors naturally align with your goals. Every morning, every decision, every action adds up. either moving you closer to the person you want to be or pulling you further away. That cup of coffee, the extra 10 minutes of focus, the decision to read instead of scroll mindlessly, the choice to exercise even when you don't feel like it, these are not insignificant. They are the building blocks of your destiny. And here's the beautiful part. Once you commit to consistent, disciplined habits, your life begins to run on autopilot in the direction of your dreams. You don't have to wait for motivation, for inspiration, or for the perfect circumstances. You create a system, a structure, a rhythm, and that structure carries you forward. The people who achieve greatness are not necessarily more talented or luckier. They are simply better at doing the right things consistently. And the more disciplined you become in your daily routines, the easier it is to handle challenges, to overcome setbacks, and to maintain momentum, because your habits have built a foundation that no temporary discomfort can shake. Clarity is power, and without it, even the most disciplined efforts can wander aimlessly. Many people work hard, struggle, and push themselves, yet fail to achieve meaningful results, not because they lack effort, but because they lack focus. When your goals are fuzzy, when your vision is unclear, your energy disperses in 1,000 directions, and progress slows to a crawl. Discipline requires direction. It requires knowing exactly what you want, why it matters, and what steps will lead you there. Clarity gives your actions purpose. It turns effort into progress, confusion into confidence, and hesitation into decisive action. When you have a clear vision, obstacles no longer feel insurmountable. They become markers, lessons, and opportunities to adjust your approach. Your mind stops wasting energy on doubts and distractions and begins to concentrate on solutions, on results, and on moving forward with precision. Clarity also fuels motivation. When you see the destination vividly in your mind, when the outcome excites you, the effort required to reach it no longer feels like a burden. You align your habits, your choices, and your environment to serve that vision. And discipline flows naturally because it is no longer about forcing yourself, but about moving purposefully toward what matters most. Without clarity, even consistent effort can be wasted. But with clarity, every step you take compounds, every decision reinforces your path, and the momentum you build propels you toward the extraordinary life you envision. Pain and pleasure are the invisible forces that drive every decision we make, whether we realize it or not. From the moment we wake up to the moment we sleep, we are constantly moving toward pleasure and away from pain. Understanding this is critical to developing unbreakable self-discipline, because discipline is about learning to delay immediate gratification in favor of long-term results. Most people are trapped in a cycle of short-term comfort, making choices that feel good in the moment, but leave them frustrated, stuck, or unfulfilled over time. True. Discipline is the ability to feel the discomfort of doing what must be done and to keep moving forward anyway. It's about training your mind to embrace the temporary pain of effort, sacrifice, and persistence, because you know it will create the lasting pleasure of achievement, freedom, and success. Every champion, every high achiever has learned to rewire their mind to see short-term pain not as suffering, but as an investment. When you begin to associate the discomfort of action with the reward it will eventually bring, your mindset shifts, and what once felt like a burden becomes a stepping stone. The key is to recognize the patterns in your own behavior. The moments when you avoid responsibility, procrastinate, or give in to fleeting desire, and to consciously choose the actions that serve your greater purpose. Over time, the repeated practice of choosing long-term pleasure over immediate ease builds a mental muscle stronger than any obstacle you will face. And that is what makes self-discipline unbreakable. Your environment shapes your behavior in ways far more than most people realize, and it either strengthens your discipline or erodes it. The people you spend time with, the spaces you inhabit, the routines you follow, and even the media you consume all influence your decisions, your habits, and ultimately the trajectory of your life. If you surround yourself with distraction, negativity, or mediocrity, your discipline will weaken and your efforts will scatter. But when you intentionally design your environment to support your goals, when you align your surroundings with the person you want to become, discipline becomes far easier to sustain. Think of your environment as the soil in which your habits grow. Fertile soil produces strong, resilient plants, while poor soil yields weak, stunted growth. Remove temptations, establish systems that reinforce good behavior, and seek out people who challenge you. to be better, who inspire you, and who hold you accountable. When your external world is aligned with your inner ambitions, choices that once required Herculean willpower become natural and effortless. You begin to notice that your surroundings either support your progress or sabotage it, and the moment you take control of this, you take control of your life. Every detail, every influence matters. Discipline is not only a product of internal strength, it is cultivated through the environment you consciously create, and that environment becomes a silent partner in your journey toward mastery.